Welcome to the Backtacular. Over the last 24 hours, Bakkt has now launched. But the question is why, after a full year of anticipation, are we seeing more red today than a wedding in Game of Thrones? In this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how and why the whales are going to try to get you to fold your crypto hand one last time when you should be thinking about going all in. Easy boy! Hey guys, welcome to BitBoy Crypto, your one-stop shop for all things Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Become a member of our community, the Bit Squad, by making sure that you press the subscribe button. Today, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin price going down in spite of the fact that Bakkt has launched. We're going to try to give you a little bit of historical perspective on what could have happened here and what you can expect for the future. And what I think is maybe a conspiracy, we're going to be talking about Google quantum supremacy, what that means for cryptocurrency, and how that ties back in to this story. So before we get to all that though, make sure that you do hit subscribe on the channel so you can get content like this every day. Don't forget to smash the like button. Don't break your computer. Always have to throw in that caveat. And also, we got a Telegram group, the Bit Squad. Make sure you guys join that. You can get that information. It'll be somewhere above me here in a second. So here we go, guys. This is a tweet that I put out yesterday that's very relevant to what's going on today. Bakkt launches tomorrow. Actually launched last night, I think at 8 p.m. Eastern. In the United States. So Bakkt launched tomorrow. Bitcoin could reach 6 figures. ETH could reach 500. XRP could reach $3. Those are all just meme amounts that I made up. But most importantly, none of that will happen. Get ready for a dip. So I did tell you guys yesterday that the dip was coming, and we have seen it. If you look at all of the red, there are some small gainers. Link up 1%, Litecoin up 0.5%, but Bitcoin down almost a whole percent, back in 9,800, 9,880 at the current moment. And we saw yesterday it was hovering around 10,000. And this is one of those things, right? Buy the rumor, sell the news. But there's a lot more going on right now with this story. So if we look here at the Bakkt launch today, let me go ahead and refresh this page and see. Now look at the difference, guys. Look at what has happened just in the last hour and a half. The number of contracts traded is now 44. Last night, in the middle of the night, people were making a big deal because it was around 14. Just an hour ago, it was at 29, and now we've seen this volume start to move up. So we went from 29 contracts to 44 contracts in just a couple of hours. So we are starting to see, as the trading world wakes up across the United States, by time zone, we are seeing that we are getting some volume. It is picking up. I think we will see this volume pick up quite a lot, but I think we'll look back in about 6 months and look at the volume, and we'll see just how minuscule this volume is right now going on with Bakkt. So what is going on here? Well, right now I've got the price pulled up of the Bitcoin chart in between, let's see what days this is, in between November 9th of 2017 and February 6th of 2018. So what happened during this time? Well, we saw the launch of the CBOE and the CME futures. And so that happened between the 10th and the 17th of December. So let's look at what happened there, okay, for the numbers. So right now, or on Sunday, December 10th, when the CBOE futures were launched, the CMEs are the much bigger ones that were launched on the 17th, the Bitcoin price was at $17,000. During that window, it actually hit an all-time high of $19,665 and then remained relatively steady, still above $19,000 until the 17th. This is the day the CME futures were launched. And look at what happens after. Look at the carnage. So in the next 4 days, in between the 17th and the 21st, Bitcoin dropped 29%. So it dropped down to about $14,000. Now, you may have seen a lot of people calling for a $7,000 Bitcoin due to the technicals or whatever they might want to talk about. However, we look back and this was a 29% drop over a few days, which right now where the price is would put the price around $7,000. So those numbers kind of match up if you believe that we're having a breakout to the downside. So when we look comparatively to what is going on right now and what happened in 2017, these are basically vehicles for investments. So if we look at this quote right here, I thought that this was very interesting. This is from an article back in 2017 when the futures were launched, and it said more investor funds are coming. But this is very important, guys. Wall Street just loves new products they can sell to generate more fees and commissions. In an era in which fund fees have dropped to the basement, they stand to make billions from new vehicles. This is why these investment vehicles, futures, incoming options, the physically backed Bitcoin futures contracts we have right now with Bakkt, these generate fees and commissions for Wall Street. So that's why when you look at the chart, and this is upcoming, you see this kind of accumulation stage here. This is going back to the beginning of September to where we are now. And you basically see that the Bitcoin price has not done much, as some people may be accumulating in expectation that we're going to have a big breakout to the upside or the downside. Now, you may have seen this triangle on a lot of different channels, this little pennant here. And what a lot of channels are saying is that we are going to have a huge Bitcoin breakout to the upside or to the downside. Now, if we see the breakout to the downside, it could hit that $7,000 number, which would line up with the fall that we had after the original US dollar backed physical US dollar settled futures contracts in 2017. However, a lot of technical analysis are saying that we have a lot of buying pressure, and it's really the whales that are keeping it in this range right here. Now, look, guys, by the time we get to this range, which is near the end of October, by the time we get to the end of this, we will have a breakout. There's going to be either a breakout to the upside or the downside in the next, in the next 30 days for sure. Probably sooner than that. I would say we will see a breakout for Bitcoin going way up as high as $13,000 to $16,000 or as low as $7,000 in about the next 8 days. We are going to see that start to form. So that's basing that off of the history, what happened in 2017. I think, though, we're going to go to the upside. I think that we're going to see basically the opposite of what we saw in 2017. I believe we're going to see these numbers go up, and they're going to be going up very drastically, probably in the next 8 days. I think we will see a breakout here. So you guys can be expecting that. So what was it in 2017 that drove the price down? Now, of course, there's manipulation in the market, things like that. But one proven strategy was FUD, was to basically give news about Bitcoin to make the price crash. Now, if we go back to some of the stories that were in between December 10th and December 17th in 2017, here's one. U.S. woman used Bitcoin to move cash to Islamic State, appealing to the worst fears of Americans. The worst fear in America is terrorism. It's that at any given moment, whether it's domestic terrorism or foreign terrorism, that at any given moment, you can just be minding your business, doing anything you would do in your regular life, and then there's a terrorist attack like we had in 2011. So this story right here, appealing to that. If you go through this story and you look, there's no source for it. It just says court papers suggest. I definitely don't think that BBC is just scouring all the criminal reports across the United States looking for something to say. This was a story that was given to them from somewhere else. So then we look here. Tax investigators raid Bitcoin exchanges across India. We knew at that time there was a lot of FUD going on in India. And this story would have been on September, no, that's today's date. This story was, I don't have a date for it, but there was a date when I clicked on it. So this was also during that period. So we look, here's another story. EU agrees clampdown on Bitcoin platforms to tackle money laundering. Also an article that was written during this time period, kind of trying to fan the flames of, money laundering and Bitcoin is for evil people. Then we had this story from Newsweek, my favorite. Bitcoin mining on track to consume all of the world's energy by 2020. That's right, guys. In a few months, we'll never see electricity again thanks to Bitcoin. Just showing you how asinine of a claim this was in 2017. The Bitcoin mining will consume all of the world's energy. That's absolutely crazy. Yet these were the type of stories that were being reported to help push the price down. So what story is being pushed now to push the price down? Well, Cryptocurrency is over. It doesn't get any better than this. Google may have just ushered in an era of quantum supremacy. A lot of people are mad at Google for using this phrase, quantum supremacy, because it's offensive. I kid you not. But basically, this is a quantum computer. Now, what Google claims is that they now have a computer that can break cryptography, which, if you remember, recently Google said that they were trying to aim to create, I think, a cryptocurrency competitor. So, or maybe it was Amazon. Can't remember who it was. But now all of a sudden they can break cryptography. This is a quantum computer here. Now, what you're looking at is very interesting. I've been doing a lot of research on quantum computers, and I knew that to have one, you have to have almost absolute zero temperature. So the temperature inside of a quantum computer is actually colder than interstellar space. So that shows you how complicated these things are to make, but it's really just kind of like, looks like a laser, you know, like in a cartoon or something, they have a laser that points somewhere that will like destroy the world. That's kind of what it looks like. Or like the thing coming down out of the Independence Day, alien ships, whatever, alien ships, if you will. But here's the story. Google has said they have these new computers that basically what they'll be able to do is they can solve complicated math problems in like a few minutes that take even the most powerful supercomputers that we have today, take them 10,000 years to solve. So is this a threat to cryptocurrency? Well, of course. I mean, this article, you know, and a lot of other articles written would seem to suggest that the cryptography is over. We have these quantum computers now that exist. And even though they're so difficult to create, the fact is that if there's one of them in the world, you would have to worry about, you know, some evil dictator taking it over and maybe being able to destroy the world's financial system if we were all to move over to cryptography and cryptocurrency. It's a bunch of overblown hype. I'm going to tell you guys why. And I'm also going to tell you guys exactly why I feel like this is a story that has totally planted in order to FUD Bitcoin. I know it sounds crazy, but let's look at the facts here, guys. NASA put this story out. Everywhere you read, it basically says that what happened is NASA put out this story on their website and then Google had them immediately remove it. So basically, this is a leak. The paper, you cannot find the paper anymore. You may be able to find someone who's reproduced it for a web browser, but the actual paper that was originally posted by NASA was gone in a few hours. So it was posted last week. All of a sudden, all this news came out and then it was taken down. A lot of Google's competitors are saying that this is not even real. This is not something that can actually even be proven, and we'll be looking at that. However, do you guys think it's a coincidence? I want you guys to really think about this. Do you guys think it's a coincidence that the very same weekend that Bakkt is going to launch and bring institutional investors in, that NASA accidentally leaked a paper explaining why quantum computers will destroy cryptography? Guys, it's crazy. It might be a coincidence. I highly doubt it, though. The fact that Google came in right after that, had them remove it, it looks for like smoke and mirrors, like, oh, we didn't mean to put this out this weekend, guys. However, it certainly seems like there's a connection there. So here is a quantum computer company, D-Wave. Now, I'm going to show you guys this. This is crazy. So the computer is housed inside this house up here, the housing. It's housed in a house, believe it or not. And then this part on the front side here, this is actually just like I can't think of the word right now, but the terminal. This is like the terminal, if you will, okay, where you do all the work, but the computer's housed inside, okay? Like you can see this guy here working on this quantum computer. The computer is in the bigger part. Now, it's kind of like a bag of chips. It's real big, but if you open it up, there's not much in there. So if you actually look at the computer itself, that's all it is right there. That's it. This is what is hanging inside of this super, super, super cold, interstellarly cold housing unit, okay? And you can see what the temperature has to be at each level, because what a quantum computer is actually trying to do is like get to subatomic levels to where, you know, binary code, right? Zeros and ones, like everything, people say binary choice. That means one or the other, 0 or 1. But with quantum computers, you can actually get the zeros and the ones to exist at the same time, which makes computer processing so much more powerful. So I'm not a computer nerd, so I can't really explain it more than that, but I thought that was pretty cool. This is what it looks like. So is this true? Okay. Did Google crack this? Will quantum computing destroy cryptography? So here we go. This is talking about quantum computers, but it isn't all good news. Quantum computers pose a serious threat to most modern cryptography. Because they are extremely powerful, quantum computers will eventually be able to break many encryption schemes that are currently in widespread use. Whew, that's scary, guys. Can you imagine a world where our current form of cryptography gets solved? Well, of course you can, because we've seen it many times in history. This will not be the first time. This is a history of encryption. It is a graphic. I know it's a little grainy. Sorry about that. But encryption goes all the way back to 500 BC. And guess what? Every time encryption gets solved, they create a more complicated encryption. Now, in the year 500, they obviously did not, or 500 BC, they didn't have computers. They didn't have super complicated, techniques and methods to encrypt. However, you guys need to remember this. It is much easier to encrypt than it is to break encryption. Okay, you guys remember that. That is the key thing here. But as technology has advanced, we are able to come up with more complicated ways to encrypt. Then you have to come up with more complicated ways to break the encryption. So it goes back to 500 BC. Then we had the Caesar cipher, frequency analysis, polyalphabetic cipher, the Jefferson wheel, Enigma machine, cryptologic bombs. Okay, so 1977, we had data encryption standard 56. Now we use the advanced encryption standards, which are either 128, 192, 256 bit. You may have heard of SHA-256. That's basically what that means. Now, very interesting. How long does it take to crack SHA-256? There's 7 billion people on the planet. If every person on the planet owned 10 computers and each computer can test 1 billion combinations per second, it would take 77 and about 30 zeros behind it. Is that right? Nope. 18, 24, 77 with 24 zeros behind it. I don't know what that number is. That's how many years it would take to crack. However, now with the quantum computing, it can be cracked in a short period of time. So what does this mean? This just means we need more characters in the encryption. So if you look at what is a bit here, here's the key size formula. If something's 1 bit, it has 2 combinations, which would be 0 and 1, I believe. And then at 64 bit, it's got this crazy number over here, 2 to the 64th power. At 256, obviously, it's 4 times that. So it's just time for us to evolve into the new level of encryption. However many zeros we have to add to the encryption or how many characters, that's what we'll do. So it's not that big of a deal, guys. We've seen this happen over and over again. So you don't think Google knows that? And yet they put this out the same weekend that Bakkt is launching? Very fishy to me, guys. And I think there is definitely a tie-in. So I think there was something else I wanted to say here. And this is another thing important here. Cryptocurrency is just one small corner of the tech world, and many researchers are working on a post-quantum security solution. For example, this is very huge here, guys. Google and Cloudflare partnered to experiment with quantum secure algorithms in June. The goal of this effort is to improve internet security in general, but it is not clear if this will benefit cryptocurrency in general. Nevertheless, quantum-resistant security research is thriving. So yet kind of another tinfoil hat theory. We have Google explaining, or we have Google, it is reported, is working with Cloudflare to create post-256 encryption solutions, or as they say, post-quantum security solutions. This means that they put out this paper and they explain quantum computing is going to break encryption as we know it. Oh, by the way, guys, we're working on those security solutions. So when you're ready to secure your platform, come on over to us. They're basically trying to create the problem so they have the solutions so they can control the world even more. They're trying to create a problem that it has already solved in order to make more money, obviously, is what is going on here. And I think that is all I want to talk to you guys about today. But here's the important thing, guys, to know. The Bitcoin breakout, it is coming. Is it going to be on the upside or the downside? We're not sure yet. But I personally believe that we will break to the upside, start on a new pennant, move into the side. I think $16,000 is in the realm of possibility. So of course I'm not a financial advisor, but I know during this time, I'm also trying to accumulate. When the whales are trying to accumulate, I'm also trying to accumulate. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to smash the like button. We'll be back with a live stream later today, maybe to hash this out a little bit more, no pun intended. BitBoy out.